It's time for the latest from Germany's domestic football league, the Bundesliga. And for that, we are joined by DW Sports correspondent Chris Harrington from our partner station, Deutsche Welle in Berlin. Now, Chris, there were a few changes in the standings. Frankfurt defeated Hoffenheim, knocking them down a bit. Bayern Munich bounced back, and also Dortmund followed up with a win over Freiburg without Jadon Sancho in the lineup.
Yeah, you're right. There were a lot of changes. I mean, look at Frankfurt. In their monstrous, nearly 2-meter tall striker, Bas Dost. He had a boot in both goals. Kramaric has really been the hot man of the league right now for Hoffenheim. He scored, but then Frankfurt took flight, and got it done in the second half. Speaking of Dortmund, no Jadon Sancho, it really gives an opportunity for all of the other youngsters to start making a bigger name for themselves, namely American sensation Gio Reyna. A hat trick assist. That's going to have to be a new statistic we start celebrating because he made record. That's a record he set with that in their, big lopsided victory over Freiburg. He's really been shining. He was really shining bright when they opened up the season with their victory over Gladbach. He scored and had an assist. But Dortmund without Sancho, Erling Haaland, the usual suspect, getting it done. Emre Can, the elder statesman they brought in to really calm down the midfield. They look really good, but I think the big question mark is what's up with Jadon Sancho? Do they need him in the lineup to be successful? The last two fixtures would say not really, in all honesty. You mentioned Bayern. I'll touch on Bayern later. But then last but not least, Leipzig. Leipzig look really good. They put another nail in Schalke's coffin. They lead the standings right now. The big concern, the big vacancy left by Timo Werner. Nagelsmann said he has a squad. The players that we know he has are really stepping up and filling that void. Orban, looks good. Forsberg has 2 goals on the season, but this recent fixture, Halstenberg had 2. Nkunku looks good and more. Leipzig, are really proving that they weren't just a flash in the pan last season when they reached their historical feat in the Champions League. So, things look good and exciting right now in the Bundesliga.
Now, Chris, it appears as though Jadon Sancho will remain at Dortmund, at least for now. Do you see the potential of any bad blood between Sancho and the club developing? Because we know Manchester United want him.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the bad blood has already started. He's supposed to be out with respiratory issues. Well, he was caught at a party over the weekend, a birthday party with Chelsea's Tammy Abraham. About 20 people were there. He's seen in photos, so he could expect a fine because, that type of gathering is against the coronavirus protocols. And I think the biggest issue is where is his maturity? He's got to be smarter than that. He's under the microscope right now. Who knows if Man United was preparing this huge, monstrous bid because Dortmund has said no a few times. Maybe they were preparing that. But after this comes out, I don't see why they would even push the green light, in that sense, because Jadon Sancho's already had issues in the past with his discipline, showing up late. He claims that he has sleeping issues. He just went on social media not too long ago and talked about having this wake-up moment where he took things seriously. This recent weekend suggests otherwise. So it looks like hopefully it doesn't get as bad as it was with the prior Dortmund superstars that left in Dembele, Aubameyang. But Jadon Sancho, I think he has some repairing to do with his teammates. It's not sending the best message to a team sport with an individual. It looks to be only thinking of himself.
Now, Chris, the UEFA Champions League draw also came and went as well. What are your thoughts on Bayern Munich potentially having the chance of a repeat season?
Well, I think a lot rests on the shoulders of Robert Lewandowski. We see him coming off a 4-goal performance, saving 3 points for Bayern, with an explosive second half. He'll have to be in top form and healthy. There's no doubt about that. The big concern, really, in terms of Bayern repeating, they're not Real Madrid. They're not dominating. There's a condensed season right now. Okay, so much football in a short window of time. Injuries could be an issue for some of the players. There's an international break coming up and so forth. And they have Atletico Madrid is who they open up their group play against. And I think the biggest concern for Bayern is their shabby defense. They've conceded 10 goals in 5 games. That's a worse defensive record that had Niko Kovac fired. So right now they have that's putting the carriage before the horse in terms of thinking about repeating. David Alaba, is his heart and mind into it? He looks to have fallen off a cliff. Ben Pavard, is hit and miss. Boateng looks exposed sometimes. They do have some highlights. Lewandowski, I mentioned. Thomas Müller is brilliant in how he interprets space and creates opportunities for his team. But I think that they need to deal with the fixtures ahead of them. They have Bundesliga action, and then at the end of the month, Atletico Madrid. I think they're going to take it a game at a time because they've already suffered defeat due to fatigue at the hands of Hoffenheim. Hopefully it doesn't repeat. But yeah, there's a lot of football ahead of us.
Chris, as always, we ask, what else has hit your radar this week?
Well, the window closes today, in fact. And, I'll give an update of all of the moves that have been made when the dust settles. But Bayern have been busy. Douglas Costa, a threat from the outside, is set to return to Bayern Munich on a loan from Juventus. That's what all of the reports indicate. Hopefully that does materialize because they do need that maturity, someone cut from the Mia San Mia cloth. And Bayern signed a midfielder to a 5-year deal, Mark Roca. And we'll have to see how he fits in with Thiago's absence. But I think with a lot of new signings right now, Bayern is somewhat in a rebuilding. Obviously, with their success, you don't want to say rebuilding, but when you look at the depth they have and how all of the new pieces are fitting in, you can't argue the idea of rebuilding in some senses. But these are the things that hit my radar. And I'll end you with this. There's a battle for number one. Will it be Augsburg or RB Leipzig? That's the big match to look forward to. The teams are level on the table despite Leipzig having a slight advantage thanks to their 4-goal victory they're coming off of.
Well, we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. Thank you very much for the Bundesliga update. DW Sports correspondent Chris Harrington from Deutsche Welle in Berlin. Thank you very much and have a good day.
You as well.